You may remember just a few months ago how there was talk about how Sony would potentially have to limit the amount of PlayStation 5s they manufacture this year for a couple reasons. First, because of the whole coronavirus affecting China and their supply lines earlier in the year, and also because of the coronavirus, people would be wanting to save money, they'd be less willing to spend it, and this would just create a economic depression or recession essentially. So Sony was talking about very much limiting the amount of PlayStation 5s they'd make. They didn't expect to sell as many. So we have this article that's from April 15th, 2020, and they were talking about how Sony had, at the time, planned to produce far fewer units of its upcoming PlayStation 5 in its first year than it had for the previous generation console's launch. And it says specifically the company had told assembly partners it would make 5 to 6 million units in the fiscal year ending March 2021. So that's not even necessarily 5 million by the end of the year. And it also says when Sony released the PlayStation 4 in November of 2013, geez, that long ago, doesn't even feel like it, it sold 7.5 million units in the first two quarters. Now we come to today, or well, yesterday is when this article was released. Sony is boosting the output of PlayStation 5 to meet a surge in demand. So it's flipping the script. It's actually doubling what they previously thought they would sell. That's how much they're manufacturing. Before, it was what, 5 million? Now they're boosting it to 10 million by year end, not just March of 2021 like they were saying previously. Says logistics remain a challenge in time for holiday deliveries. So Sony Corp is roughly doubling its PlayStation 5 production to 10 million units this year as it sees prolonged effects of the COVID-19 pandemic boosting demand for gaming, according to people familiar with its plans. So we kind of have seen this. You saw this with Nintendo, with the Switches going into extremely high demand. You really can't get them anymore unless you buy them from scalpers for like $500. And Nintendo has had to, I guess, up production, and even that has not been able to meet the demand. So Sony is looking at that and they're saying, people are not really so scared to spend money. In fact, they're stuck at home in a lot of cases. Maybe they're going to be more willing to buy a PlayStation 5. Later in the article, it says the electronics giant has informed assembly partners and suppliers it's radically increasing orders for its next generation console, though logistics may yet pose a challenge in delivering all those machines on time for the holiday shopping season. The people said, asking to remain anonymous. We already know this. They previously aimed to go 5 to 6 million. Sony spokesman declined to comment. Japanese business daily Nikkei earlier reported Sony's planned production boost of the game machine, which is scheduled to release this fall. We still don't know, I don't think, an official release date. We don't even know the price yet. There was rumors that this past Monday that there would be a pre-order going up. Those rumors all turned out to be completely wrong, and the Amazon page that people thought had gone up right at the rumored time, I looked and it was in the Wayback Machine Internet Archive since June. So really nothing new. All those rumors were 100% completely wrong. So we don't know when we're going to get a price. However, there is one speculation that Sony is probably going to be waiting until at least after Xbox's games showcase they announced, which is on July 23rd, which is, what day is that? That's next Thursday. So there's rumors that Xbox is going to be releasing the price of their Xbox One X on this date during their showcase, and Sony will probably follow suit after that, and it's probably going to be either the same or possibly even a lower price, depending. So, even with a boost in manufacturing, Sony may still be unable to put enough units on store shelves in the coming year-end holiday season due to shipping constraints, the people said. A large proportion of Sony's consoles are made in China and sent out via sea around the world. It takes months for shipping to travel from China to the US and Europe via ocean lines, and Nintendo earlier this year had trouble refilling stock of its popular Switch console for this reason. I did a Google search on how long it takes for a shipping cargo container to go from China to the US. It said like 30 to 40 days, so that sounds about right. Sony had previously advised suppliers that it would require 10 million units of the DualSense controller for the new PlayStation machine by March of next year, and the production of the new controllers also being increased to match the console's output. So if originally they were saying 10 million controllers for 5 to 6 million consoles, I assume that means they're going to be making like 20 million controllers, because a lot of times when people buy a new console, they get 2 of them so they can play with someone else or just have an extra. says Sony began PS5 mass production in June, didn't know that, and under the latest plan expects to assemble 5 million units by the end of September and another 5 million between October and December. A large portion of the latter tranche would turn into stock for 2021 due to the logistical delay. Sony could try to use air cargo for faster delivery. I didn't know this, but as it did in 2013 around the launch of PlayStation 4, though of course, airlines are running vastly reduced schedules due to COVID-19. So this is not an ideal situation in terms of logistics, although Sony has apparently expectations for very high demand, but the manufacturing might not be able to meet it. Now, we can speculate on what this means for price. This is basically the end of the article. I'm thinking that probably it's going to be like $500. I mean, there's talk about it being $400, which would be the same as the PS4 when it launched, but I don't know. I see that as probably unlikely because of inflation. You know, that was $400 in 2013. Apparently, that's around $450 now, and you know, $450 is kind of an awkward price. Maybe they would do $450 for the discless digital version, $500 for the one with the disc. That might make sense, but I think the Xbox will probably be $500. I definitely don't think it would be more than $500. I would be very surprised if it was more than $500. And Xbox will probably be $500, no more than that, certainly, because we know that one of the big reasons the PlayStation 4 had a better deal or had better performance in terms of sales earlier when it was released was because it was like $100 cheaper than the Xbox One. And, you know, the Xbox One had that whole Kinect thing, remember, that no one really even wanted, and that was a reason the price was higher. That was so stupid. So people just went out and bought the PS4 for $100 cheaper. And I think that led to a lot of games being PS4 exclusives. And the reason why, to this day, I think personally, my opinion is that PlayStation has better exclusives than Xbox for now. So that might be another reason why there's more demand maybe for the PlayStation 5 than Xbox. There's just more people who have the PlayStation ecosystem than necessarily the Xbox potentially. So that's all speculation. I'm thinking $500 would be a decent price point. I think if it was $400, I mean, it would go absolutely crazy. Of course, they can always lower the price, but I think the fact that they're expecting higher demand and they're probably going to be paying more for components because of the whole coronavirus, shipping, all that stuff, costs are going to be higher to produce it. It's probably going to be like $500 on launch, although they'll probably try to bring the price down as quickly as possible as they start streamlining the production line, all that sort of stuff. So let me know down in the comments what price you would be willing to pay maximum. Would you be willing to pay $500, or would you have to kind of wait with the whole uncertainty with the COVID-19? Are you worried about more recession stuff going on? Let me know down in the comments what price would be like a absolute yes, I'll buy it, and one that would kind of make you hesitate. So we can talk about that down there. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to make new videos, possibly even daily, as much as daily, at least most days in a week. I'm usually talking about what I think is the most significant news story of the day. So let's talk again the next video.